Ronan's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture films in the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Let's roll.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTuber Ronan. And I'd like to welcome you to my review of Backrooms. I want to first off say hello to everyone currently following along on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to say hello to a few people who have joined us here in the live chat. First off, FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. Also want to say hello to friend of the channel, the Horror King. All right, so on May 30th, Saturday night, I played hooky that evening, and I went out to go see Backrooms, and these are my thoughts on the film. I know I'm bringing this to you a little late. By all accounts, this film is doing very well. It seems to be a smash hit, and I'm really glad to hear that, because as a YouTuber, I'm glad to see someone who has been a YouTuber, obviously longer than myself, do well, especially someone as young as Kane Parsons. I want to be him when I grow up. What was I doing when I was 20? I don't even remember. But Kane Parsons was apparently directing a major motion picture for A24. So, all right. I'll come out and say this up front. I am not an expert when it comes to Backrooms. I know, obviously, of Kane Parsons' web series. I have not seen all of those films. Full disclosure, I have not played any of the games. So I do know that there's, much like the Backrooms themselves, the lore seems to build upon itself. And so I don't pretend to know everything about them. I'm not an expert. I'm sure that there are Easter eggs in this movie that I missed. I got some of them. Mark Duplass's character in this is a big clue. And I'll be getting to that. But as far as being aware of the lore, I'm not really up to date. I'm not an expert. There are things that I've probably missed, but I don't necessarily believe that you really need to be to enjoy the film. I think there's enough there on its own to build. I don't think that this is here to. I'll put it this way. It didn't strike me as a movie that was trying to reference the prior lore, but trying to build upon what was already there. Now, like I said, the YouTube series, the video games, the creepypasta, people have taken Backrooms and done their own things with them and gone off into their own directions. And I think that's perfectly fine. So if there's people who are going into this movie expecting, okay, you're going to get the lore of the video games, you're going to get the lore from here, you're going to get characters from here, or monsters from here, I don't think you're necessarily going to get that. And you might be disappointed. So my thing would be to go into this with an open mind. Like I said, like I did, I am not an expert on the lore. So I am simply looking at this. I am simply looking at the film on its own and judging that. And bit of a synopsis. It involves a character by the name of Clark, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, whose name I probably just massacred just then. My apologies, sir. Now, he is an architect. Some would say a failed architect. He would say no. But he is an architect. He failed at that, I guess, in some way that's kind of not really explained. And you don't really need to know. But he is now running okay, I'll get to that. But he's now running a furniture store, and that is also failing. It's this kind of like, it looks nice, but it looks like, it looks like display. It kind of looks like, okay, this is the display. Where's the real furniture? Which I think works. It's not. It doesn't go for the obvious joke to slam on IKEA or anything. I think that kind of adds to the fact that everything in this movie just feels off, because even before you get into the back rooms, went into scenes that involved a furniture store, it feels like you are already in this artificial environment, and it's very off-putting. And this is before any of the creepy stuff happens. So anyway, going back to Clark for a minute, like I said, he's a failed architect. His furniture store business is now also failing. The bills are piling up. There's no customers. His drinking is starting to get out of control. And he goes to a therapist named Mary, who's played by Renate Reinsve. And I probably just got her name wrong as well. And hello to Pilgar R7F. We're talking about Backrooms, the Kane Parsons film. A little bit of a late review, I know, but that's what we're talking about. So he goes to a therapist named Mary, and the first, I would say, good 40 or so minutes of the film is really building up the characters, getting you to care about them before, all the horror movie stuff starts. And hello to the bird woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary. Good to see you. Right on. All right. So, like I said, Clark goes to a therapist named Mary. And as we come to find, Mary has some issues of her own. Her mother goes insane, and she's still dealing with the fact that, you know, she's still dealing with the leftover trauma from that, as you know, as one would be. You would look at that differently as a child. You do not look at the fact that, you know, you just, I don't know. I did not have a parent that had mental issues, so, you know, I don't know what that would be like. But that's what she has to deal with, and had to deal with it at a very young age. And the mother gets committed, and, you know, but we'll go a little bit more into that. And so, you know, she's dealing with her own issues, you know, and even in their interactions, it feels tense, because you are you know, because he even asks her at one point, what would make you drop a patient, you know, and am I at that point, you know? And at that point she says, you know, no, I would only drop a patient, and they have like a term for it within the film. And no, I would only drop a patient if I felt there was nothing more I could do for this person, you know. And so she's kind of on Clark's side. She's trying to understand what he's going through. He's separated from his wife, so she's kind of living in the house that he's paying for. So there's animosity there, and he's basically sleeping inside of the furniture store, and odd things are starting to happen. You know, lights are starting to flicker. He brings in an electrician, and they're starting to find like switches, fuse box don't belong, that don't seem to be connected anything, you know. And that's kind of an inkling that, okay, this is something. This is kind of the first thing that one of the characters in the movie comes to realize, okay, something's off. And one night, you know, Clark is in the store alone, and he walks through a wall, and he winds up in the back rooms, and he starts to get obsessed with trying to understand and trying to map the place out, which he starts to do. And he comes up with these very details, because he is an architect after all. You know, he starts to come up with these very elaborate, very detailed maps. One of which he shows to Mary. He goes to the you know, he goes to Mary during his next session, and starts showing and tells her, you know, I basically walked through the wall and found this whole other. He doesn't know what to think of it. Is it another dimension? Is it this whole? Is it something that's underneath the store? He's kind of, you know, you're dealing with a guy who has an already fragile mind to begin with. He's kind of starting to snap. And then you put him into Backrooms and everything that entails, you know, and then you're dealing with this, for the lack of a better term, parallel universe where, you know, it's building upon itself, and you come to find out that I guess I could let this go now. There are kind of copies of yourself down there as well. And, you know, it's kind of building on your own psyche. So, you've got, like, he runs a furniture store, so you're starting to see, couches coming out of the ceilings, and so it's got all of that going on. It's very surreal, very Escher. It's a very creepy, honestly, film. And hello to JPRPH1. Good to see you. Now, I don't want to go too deeply into the rest of the plot, in case anybody else out there listening hasn't gotten around to seeing the movie yet. I do very highly recommend seeing this movie, and as I say in the title, Backrooms is nightmare fuel, and I think it is. I do not get I am not easy to scare. Those of you who have been following my channel, I have, you know that I have kind of a love and hate relationship with horror movies. Is that I can respect a horror movie. I can get what might freak people out about certain movies, but at the same time, I very rarely get scared myself. And you have to get pretty extreme to get to me. And I've kind of always been that way ever since I was a kid. So it's not the matter of being desensitized. It's okay. I know it's a movie. It's not real. If it were happening, if certain things were happening in front of me, maybe that would be a different story. But there were scenes in this movie that genuinely creeped me out, and a couple of points where I did get scared, and I call it nightmare fuel because there's a scene that's very late in the film where a character winds up getting chased through a certain room. I have had nightmares of rooms like that. And I'm not just talking rooms like that, the exact room. And I'm like, okay, how do you know that? I had a Mandela moment watching this movie. It's a very creepy film. And it's not just that uncanny valley, everything being off-putting, kind of surrealistic. This movie has some genuine scares in it. And there are scenes that are reminiscent of The Shining and films like that. This movie is very, when people compare this movie to Stanley Kubrick, I get it, because it very much has the feel that The Shining had, and some of the camera work as well did put me in mind of Kubrick. But it is very much Kane Parsons style, and I can tell. And there have been there's been some controversy that he didn't actually direct this movie. If you look at his short films and you look at this film, it is obvious that he did this on his own. It's and you have actors who are like, hey, I was on the set, he was in control of that set. Mark Duplass went on Twitter, and he doesn't, he went on Twitter and said that, Kane Parsons was in charge of that set. So I said, that is good enough for me because that man was there. Okay. So yeah, it is very much his style, and you can tell. So it's anybody who says he didn't actually direct this film it's complete BS. It's very obvious. It's very obviously his style. And I'll go into this. This is going to be kind of my rant for this video, is the fact that Hollywood is running scared. YouTubers are going out and doing exactly what I've been saying, be the competition. And Kane Parsons has done that. Curry Barker has done that. Markiplier's done it. I'm hoping to see Iron Lung this week. Say what you want about Chris Stuckman. He got his movie made. And I'm hoping to see more. But there are people who are going to come after those YouTubers and say, oh, Stuckman didn't really direct his movie. Mike Flanagan did. Oh, Kane Parsons didn't really direct his movie. BS. They clearly did. And you can tell. And, and this movie works like gangbusters. It's a horror movie that's actually scary. And that's a very rare thing. I am very highly recommending this movie. See it in theaters. I saw it on an IMAX screen, guys. So find this movie on the biggest screen that you can with the best sound system that you can. And I'm not going to go too much into the second half of the film. One of the characters does one of the characters does disappear into this back rooms, and that makes the other character go to find this person, and they get run through the fun house that is the back rooms, and it gets very creepy. It really does, and I am telling you right now, the production designer of this film deserves an Oscar nomination. It's probably not going to happen, but whoever the production designer was on this film, fantastic work. And I'm not just talking about in the scenes that take place in the back rooms, the entire film. And it's an interesting film. It's surprisingly character driven. So it's not just a good little scary movie. They actually go enough into the characters that you start to care about them. And it being a horror movie, they're not all with us by the end of the movie. So you got to be prepared for that. And this is a very good movie. This is it's in my top 10 for the year right now. It's very high up on my list, so I can't see it getting knocked off. Go see this movie. Go see Obsession. Go see I Swear. I highly recommend. And I don't tell people to go see movies in theaters very much. Go see this movie in theaters. I'm hoping to get a chance to go see this again. It deserves to be seen. It's very well done. It's very creepy. I might do like a spoiler thing down the line so I can like talk about the second half a little bit more, but because I definitely have thoughts on that. But I'm recommending this one, guys. It worked. It worked like gangbusters. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I went into this going, I could love it or hate it, but I gave it a chance. I sat from beginning to end, and it's a very good film. It's very well shot. It looks great. It looks like a movie. the actors are all great down all the way down the line, and there's not very many characters in this. There's like 6 or 7 characters really that the movie kind of revolves around. But yeah, and then you start to get into the fact that as the Backrooms are building themselves up, you're getting different versions of certain characters too. So the number of characters starts to multiply a bit, and but yeah, and does it sequel bait? Yeah, but I'd be down for another one. I think this is a movie that, if done well, if it's done as well as this, then it deserves. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to this. If it was done as well as this, I'm down for it. And you know me, I am like, I'm tired of sequels and reboots and all of the and remakes. But if they did a sequel for this one, I actually wouldn't mind it, because there is lore there that can be expanded on. You could, like I said, add stuff from the games and some of the, it's like it's continuing, it's still building, and this is just the first level. So I'm down, and I am officially a Backrooms fan, guys. So I am very highly recommending this film. Go see it in theaters. Buy it when it hits 4K. It's going to look amazing. Check this out. This is non-spoiler. I might do a spoiler review down the line and talk more about the second half of the movie, but I don't want to give it away for anybody who might be listening, who hasn't had a chance to see it yet. If you haven't, please go and check this movie out. It is well worth the price of admission. All right. The chat is jumping, so I don't want to ignore the chat. I want to say hello to the host of Action Theater, Thursdays at 5:30 p.m., where I also co-host with Outlaw Bill. Yes, and tomorrow night's movie is going to be Arkansas Joe and Noah's Ark. No, Raiders of the Lost Ark, guys. The classic, the first, and as far as I'm concerned, still the best Indiana Jones film. So join us for that. I want to say hello to the Comic Relief Crusader. Yes, please hit the like, share out the stream, let everyone know that we're on. Bill says, been watching R-rated movies since I was 9 years old. Yeah, I was about the same age too. Yeah. Just drop a mind to say hi and hit the like. Prepping things. Bill says he's hoping to direct his own horror movie in the future. Right on. Are there any scenes during or after the credits? No. No, but there is kind of a musical Easter egg. I will say that. That some of you that are a little bit more steeped in the lore will probably like. There's a little music cue in there. There's actually several throughout the film, but yeah. But no, as far as like mid or after credit scenes, there aren't. No. All right. So my take on the film is I very highly recommend it. I almost want to say that this is the scariest film I've seen since the Poughkeepsie tapes. Um, but then again, I would kind of have to say Obsession is up there too. Um, but this is scarier in a different way because, like I said, there are things in this that I have had, I have personally had literal nightmares about. So this one got to me on a level I wasn't expecting, and it did get some audible reactions out of me in the theater. So it is for to me it's a very creepy film. It got me. Um, and like I said, it's very well acted. It's well shot. The the production design in this movie is Oscar worthy. And so is the sound design. You know, there's a lot about this that works. And this was made by people who loved the material that they were working, who nurtured it, who shepherded it from the beginning. And yeah, I am totally down for a sequel. So this is a highly recommend. See it in theaters, see it on the biggest screen with the best sound system, and then buy it when it comes out on 4K. Independent film is now the gold standard, indeed. Hold on, lost the comments. Get that back a second. Horror King says, saw He-Man on Sunday. Thought it was a lot of fun. Dad saw it on Monday. He enjoyed it. Keep in mind, my dad knows something about He-Man. He enjoyed it too. Right on. Yeah, I'm hearing mixed things about that film, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, folks. So that is my non-spoiler review for Backrooms. I want to thank everybody who joined us on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who was here in the live chat. FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim. Horror King. Pilgor R7F. The Bird Woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary. Horror King. Outlaw Bill. Comic Relief Crusader. All right. And of course, anyone who might have been lurking in the background, thank you for being here as well. You don't have to engage with the chat, just as long as you hit the like, share out the stream, and do all the clicky algorithmic things that YouTube likes. If you like what you see, I have a lot of other content here on the channel. And not just movie reviews either. I talk about other things. So this is a pop culture entertainment channel. I also talk about recent news events as well. So yeah, a little something in there for everybody. And yes, and you're welcome, Connie, and you're welcome to Horror King. Yeah. Sometimes I forget if I got to everybody or not, so I might say a name twice. All right. So that's my review of the Backrooms. Go check it out. And as I always say at the end of every broadcast, from HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy. Don't walk into a portal to another dimension unless you know how to get out. Because this is how we win.
through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture, films, and the world we see. Deleted scenes, where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews, to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews, to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win.